back again. So I'm going to show you some of the early plastic STX sticks today in the Vintage Vault series. And first up, we have got the 73 from STX. So, plastic. Obviously before plastic sticks, everyone was using wooden sticks. And along came the 73. Now, it's a bit confusing, the 73, because there seems to be quite a few editions of the 73. Now, if you look on the back, just about to see there, it says 73, so you can kind of tell the model from the number on the back, although I do think there is some 73s that aren't stamped 73. This one is an early one. Now, how can we tell it's an early one? Well, there's a patent number on the throat here, which you don't see with late 73s. The colour is a dead giveaway. Butterscotch. It's kind of like light brown colour. Interestingly enough, this one has got gut shooting strings, as where this butterscotch here has got nylon shooting strings. And this one does not have the pattern on the side there. Now, the more you look at these 73s, the more differences you actually spot. So again, this one here has actually got STX stamped here. Now, I have seen some 73s that have got a big patent stamp on the side as well. Again, pull this butterscotch one back. No STX stamp. Just have a look at the size of the stamp. So these ones have still got the same size 73 stamp on the back, but there are some that have a big 73 and some that have a smaller 73. So if you collect vintage sticks, the problem is with the 73, there's a whole load of 73s to collect. So can you imagine when people started moving from wooden sticks to plastic? I mean, the wooden stick makers would have just been making a fraction of the number of sticks they were once making. Certainly for field lacrosse, most box players still favoured the wooden stick. So STX was founded by Richard Tucker in 1970, and it's actually a subsidiary of a company called T. Burnett & Co. Now again, if you're starting to collect vintage sticks, the 73 is an interesting one because there's actually loads of small differences, as I said before. This is a very early one. This is a slightly later one. Now it might be hard to see on the video, but this one's dimensions is actually slightly different from this one. This one's got slightly more rounded a scoop than this one, so it's clearly a later model. Now on some of the later models, you'll also find, let me see if I can find it on this one. Oh, there goes a stick, knocking the camera again. I've got to find something better to put the sticks in, something collapsing. But you can just see his little stamp there. So this one is 474. So rumour has it, the stamp actually shows when this was manufactured. So it's the 47th week of 1974. So keep a lookout for that. Interestingly, I must have, I don't know, maybe 8 73s, and only 2 of mine are actually stamped in that manner. But most of the early ones, obviously, well, all the early ones first came with wooden handles. And then an alloy handle. Now this is just a round handle, obviously the round throat there. So the early plastic sticks, they all had a round throat section, so the top of the handle's round, it just slide right on in. And again, another difference is they're attached differently. So we're used to seeing screws attaching heads. Obviously on the 73, most commonly, you see a screw on the side. So up until the STX high wall, STX was still attaching it on the side. On the early 73s, let me show you something. I'm just going to reach over here and grab something. This little thing here was how they were attached. So it's like a little compression pin. So you can see that. Not hard to see. But interestingly, I mentioned the compression pin in the early 73s on one of the vintage lacrosse Facebook pages. I think it was like lacrosse history or something. And a couple of people said, oh, no, it's a screw. It must be a thing they did in Europe. No, there's numerous 73s and a lot of people have since agreed with me. But you can see here, there's a hole on either side. So that little pin, this little pin right here, went through there, and that was how it was attached. And if you did need to pull it off, or pull it out, you had to kind of push it out with something even smaller. Not the easiest thing to take out, as we just found out. Now, although those early plastic sticks, some players may not have liked them because they broke much quicker than their wooden sticks. That changed very quickly. By 1971, 1972, 1973, STX claimed that every goal scored in the NCAA Championship final was actually with an STX plastic stick. So here I've actually got a broken 73. Now, funnily enough, when I first started, there was a couple of broken sticks which had been repaired in our equipment lockup. Now, what you used to see, I haven't got a repaired one because they all got trashed, but it's funny because I'd love to find one of those that's been kind of fixed. And you can't really see here because of the tape, but what people used to do is drill some holes either side of the broken plastic and then put maybe some wire or fishing line through and kind of lace it all up and maybe then tape over it to keep it fixed again. So a little patch-up job on your broken plastic. So I talked about the shape of the handles. Obviously we've gone from wooden round handles to metal round handles, octagonal handles. This one actually, this stick, I picked this up on eBay years ago. This is Geneseo State on it. So it's obviously the school it came from. Now I've actually missed a handle. Let me just put this one back. Doesn't want to go on, there we go. Here's an interesting handle. So round metal handle, and it's got this kind of textured feel to it. A little bit lighter than the other wood metal handles. This one's obviously got some dings in it, and I think these are quite hard to find actually because it was a lighter gauge metal, so a lot of them broke. So one of the other big changes that would happen in the 70s was everyone was using trad sticks, and then along came mesh. So we're going to cover the development of mesh in another video further down the line, but you see far more 73s with mesh pockets than you do traditional pockets. So mesh obviously took off relatively quickly. So during the 70s, STX, obviously the 73 was marketed as an attack head during the 70s because it's quite a nice pinch to it when you look at some of the wooden sticks that were being used for field lacrosse at the time. But we take heads, for different positions for granted these days. STX started doing heads for certain positions. So here we've got the 74. But this, amazingly, is an unused 74. I acquired this some years ago along with an early STX goalie head. And it had never seen a ball. It was unstrung at the time, didn't have a ball stop. So I managed to find a ball stop that fit it perfectly. High wall ball stop, and strung it up in an authentic manner. So it's not how I wanted to string it, but I thought, well, seeing as this is an untouched 74, I had to try and put a trad in it and keep it as authentic as possible. Now, the 74 originally I think was marketed as a defensive head, but it quickly became quite a firm favourite with midfielders. Now you can see compared to the 73, little bit wider, slightly bigger head. See if I put them just behind each other there. Just a little wider, isn't it? But pretty awesome to have found one of these that's never been used. So again, on this one, doesn't have a side date stamp, but you can see here, you know, it's got the screw for the side. It's not actually got a screw in this one, but you can see that's where the screw goes. But again, it's got the pattern number. I don't know if you can see it on the camera there, but the pattern number on here. And I've got another 74 there that's also got the pattern number. I'm not sure if there's any other editions of the 74 that maybe don't have the pattern number or have stamps on the side. Not too sure, but I've only got the two in my collection. Fairly rare head. Certainly see more 73s around than 74s. So again, these early models, so you've got 74 stamp on the back. Now, one thing you will notice about some of these early STX sticks, they are not the most attractive of colours, are they? I'm guessing if I had to choose at the time, no, I like the butterscotch one now. It's kind of grown on me just, you know, because it's a collectible colour. But you've got green, this 73 here is like a dark green. I'm assuming there was black. I haven't got any black ones. I've got black early goalie sticks, but don't have a black 73. They come in red. And let's see what else we've got. There is, this is kind of an orange one, and the orange ones are a bit more sought after as well, but that's red. But I'm guessing if I had to have picked a head back then, I'd have probably gone for a red head. Certainly not green. Now, one of the things about defence heads is that they are a little harder to find vintage defence heads because a lot of defencemen would break their heads on poor attackmen and midfielders. This monster here, which is massive. Look at it compared to a goalie stick. It's huge. So, the 84. Now these things are hard to find. Again, it's got the 84 number stamped on the back. Yeah, you can see it there. But this is an absolutely massive head. It's huge. I'm just going to grab a 73. I mean, you can see it's far bigger than the 73. Now, this obviously allowed a defenceman a wider surface area to check, bigger area to make knockdowns, intercept passes. I'm guessing at the time they would have marketed it as easier to pick up ground balls. Yeah, I mean, that's not, when you look at modern sticks now. But at the time, I guess, you know, a defenceman seeing this would have been sold. So yeah, the 84. Now, the next one I've got here is the 76. Now, again, it's not uncommon even these days to see first and second generations of the same stick, and they just make some slight tweaks. A couple of different brands have made slight tweaks to heads recently, mainly due to them breaking, but I won't say anything else. But the 76, I've got two different 76s here. This is the early one. Now, the early one has no number on the back, no 76 on the back of the throat there, no STX branding at all. Still has the kind of manufactured date, if you like, stamp. I don't know if anyone can actually confirm that. Hard to read this one because it's stamped pretty badly. I'm not even going to attempt at reading what that number is. But this one here actually says 76 on the front and it's got STX stamp on the back. And they appear slightly different to me. I think this one is slightly more rounded and the corners here look slightly different. So obviously changed the mold considerably. Now, one thing that made the 76 pretty unique is these stringing tabs up here. Now, I've not seen too many 76s up for sale anywhere, like eBay. I'm assuming because not many survived. I mean, these stringing tabs don't seem like a great idea, because I'm guessing they would have been quite easy to break. I'm also guessing they changed the plastic of these heads because the first generation ones were breaking. That's where these ones may have been a little bit more durable. So, the STX 76. So the next one I've got to show you here is the STX Barney. So I've got two Barneys in my collection, you can see here. And the Barney, it's got the STX branding on the back and a B on the front. Now I do believe that the first run of Barneys may have been missing the B. So if you happen to have a Barney with no B stamp on it, then feel free to drop us a message below. Would be interested in acquiring one for my collection. But you can see here, got quite an open throat. Again, it's quite a wide head. You know, not a lot has changed on these on the Barney from the early heads. But the Barney towards the late 70s was marketed as probably the best defence head on the market, and so I believe. We can see here, finally, a white head. You know, most players now these days would prefer to use a white head. I kind of like using dyed heads personally, but white head, people must have thought this was amazing. So, STX Barney. It's a lacrosse stick, not a pink dinosaur. So, we can't forget about the goalie sticks. You can see here there's a couple of early STX goalie sticks behind me. Let's pull this one off here. I mean, this has got kind of a shorter wooden handle on, but man, this thing is heavy. This is heavy. Now, I must admit, I'm not entirely sure what the name of these first STX goalie sticks were. So if you know the name of it, what model it actually was, drop us a comment below, and or drop me an email to info@northernsoulsportswear.com and let me know what the model number was. So I've actually got 3 of these early STX ones. So you've got one here with an octagonal wooden handle. We've got one here that's got the round metal handle, and I've got one that doesn't have a handle. But again, I mentioned earlier about the unused 74 I found. Well, in that same auction, believe it or not, was an unused STX butterscotch goalie head. Never seen a ball. And again, it's not got a ball stop. I think I've got a ball stop somewhere to put in this, an old high wall ball stop. But this isn't a pocket from back then. Although I have seen a prototype mesh pocket, which I actually saw somewhere, which would have been in the same area because it's actually in one of these sticks. Don't think it ever came out. Interestingly, I actually saw another prototype of an STX stick from the same kind of era, early 70s, which again just never got manufactured. But this thing has got a crazy pocket on it. Now, if you're into stringing, you may have spotted whose this stringing job is here. There's not many people that have the patience or the desire to string a traditional goalie stick, but this was strung by a good friend of mine, Matt Simpson. Matt does killer trads. He's definitely one of the best trad stringers. Off the top of my head, I can't remember Matt's Instagram account name, so I'm going to find out and let you know, because this is awesome. You need to follow Matt Simpson. I found it. So it's 955 Matt. So that's Matt Simpson, okay? And he does some incredible traditional stringing. So he's a good friend of mine over in the States, but he was good enough to string this crazy goalie trad. I mean, look, a goalie back then would have loved to have a pocket like this. I talked in a couple of the other videos I've done about how atrocious some of these pockets were. I mean, let's just pull this one here off. I mean, that's got like no pocket at all. It's literally a frying pan. In fact, I'm pretty sure my frying pan at home has got more depth than this Goalie sticker has. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine how difficult it would have been to actually save the ball without the ball flying out of these things. Now you might have noticed just over my shoulder here, this one here, this red one. Shh. We're not going to talk about that one in this video. So, shh. Another video, we're going to cover that one. So, one of the earlier STX heads that was around for a long, long time and may well have been one of the heads that's had the longest production run is the STX Sam. So, Sam, you can usually tell, it's hard to see on this one because of the tape, but there is an S under there in the little circle. So, again, still attaching them on the side, still a round throat, up into the high wall, and then it changed with the high wall. In actual fact, I think there was a late edition of the Sam that had an octagonal handle. I'm pretty sure about that. Now, interestingly, the Sam as well was also known as I think it was the T9 in the women's game. So you will see some STX Sams, which are just basically strung with a women's pocket. In fact, I'm going to see if I can find one in the women's shop up on the display area. But the Sam, slightly tighter face shape. Plastic seemed a little bit more durable than some of these other early heads. Still, you know, again, no pocket in that one, but the Sam had a really long production run. So here's the Lady Sam, or the T9. I'm pretty sure it's called the T9. But I'm going to show you a couple of things on the Sam. So let me just get rid of this T9. Now, I'm going to show you this dyed one. Here you go. I've got a whole load of dyed Sams in my collection. So the S, there you go, there's the dye, navy. But the S on the Sam, again, there were different editions of the Sam, or different generations. Now, all the Sams in my collection are from the same kind of era, so they're later Sams. But this S, it's hard to see there, but it's a raised S. And it's got STX branding on the back. You will see earlier ones that have an embossed S. I believe there's some out there that have no S at all. And there's some that don't have any STX branding on the back. So again, if you're looking to collect sticks and you feel like you want to start collecting different generations of them, that's something to look out for. And again, I'm on the lookout for some of these different generations of Sams. So if you see the embossed one, all with no branding on the throat, then let us know. Now this one's obviously got its label on the side as well. So that's the label you used to see on the side of the STX Sam. Now, I think the Sam came out in 1977. Like I said, it's had a really long production run. I started playing in either 89 or 1990, and the club still had Sams. The STX catalogue at the time still had the STX Sam. I'm not sure when it actually came out, the catalogue, but I'm going to show you some of the other dyed ones. So there's a cool navy one here. Let's see what else we've got here. There's a Friends dyed one there. So Friends is a program in the States, in Maryland, I believe. There's a couple of really cool ones here. If you watched the video where I covered the high wall, there was a gentleman called Catone. Well, these are two more of his sticks. I mean, this guy liked his dies. So, got his number here, 45, Catone. The Soviet lacrosse team down the side. And we've got the sickle there, the die on the top. In fact, now look at this. That's not a die, actually. on the top there is red stickers. But the rest of it's dyed on. So that's a pretty cool die though. Pretty cool looking stick. Soviet Lacrosse. Shouldn't stereotype. I'm sure not all Russians sound like that. But this guy obviously knew how to string a stick. This one's got a far better pocket. Far better than some of the other sticks that we've shown you so far. So, Mad Dogs. Again, it's a pretty cool kind of USA themed die. It's got the stars and stripes on the side. Now, this is just a bit of tape, but the rest of it's all dyed. Middle County Lacrosse. So if you know what Middle County Lacrosse and the Mad Dogs are, then let me know. That's a pretty cool die, that one. And I'm going to show you a couple more. Again, Virginia dyed. And this one's been pinched. So if you compare it to the Mad Dogs one, somebody has really given this a good pinch. With orange mesh. Virginia Cavaliers on the side. Of course, Virginia recently changed their mascot logo. So not entirely convinced I like the new the logo, but check it out. Go and have a look at the new Virginia logo. And then a friend over at Stockport Lacrosse Club gave us this one. It's a cool Syracuse dyed Sam. How cool is that? It's still got its sticker on the side. It's always cool seeing these old dies. But I think of all these dyed Sams, I'm not sure which is my favourite. I'm probably going to go, even though some of its little decals, I'm going to go with the Soviet stick. I think that's awesome. Getting a really nice pocket on this. So it's not your kind of standard wide diamond trad. It's like a 6-shooter. Let's put these nylons down the side here. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and keep following all these new videos. And I did mention very briefly, this one at the back here. So in the next video, I'm going to cover this. You can see, but compare it to a 73. It's basically a boxed version of a 73. STX is International Box Head. So I'll cover this in a separate video with the Brian PL60, which is Brian's version of this, basically, another box stick. So I hope you enjoyed the videos, and I shall see you guys soon. Farewell.